Greetings, everybody. It's Jim. I hope you've had a great head start to your weekend so far, getting to roll some dice big and small for some games, whether they're big or small. And I've definitely got my work cut out for me, but as they say, if you do what you love, you're not working a day in your life, and I find that to be very true. So anyway, I'll give you a little 30-second rundown on what's been going on. In conjunction with today's theme of another RPG score, I didn't mention it before, I did find the Thieves Guild box set. I did that video all about the Thieves Guild books that you can get right now for like $5 a piece, brand spanking new at Different Worlds Publications, and it is the link down below. Go grab it. Watch the video if you're not going to be convinced yet, but this is some good old school stuff. Good material. Don't care what role-playing game you play. This is worth it. And I got the box set, the elusive, little bit expensive box set, but it kind of was nagging me like Pokemon, gotta catch them all, right? So I got it, and I'm not complaining. That's my toy. And now, okay, speaking of Kickstarters going on, my Kickstarter for Dungeon Runner, the third prototypes are in. They came in Tuesday. I'm giving them one more look through, but everything looks like it's ready to have the trigger pulled, and I'm about to pull it and just order all the decks, and you should be seeing, for all you backers, first off, thank you. Second off, you should be seeing these very soon. I'm very excited about that. And if you're curious about the Dungeon Runner Solitaire card game, link down below. It's still not too late to order your set of cards for $9 for the prototype. For the beginner deck with free shipping in the USA. It's only $9. Go to the website and check it out, or just make a pledge in general. I'm still doing late pledges. Okay, and for Columbia Games Alliance, I've done a video on Alliance. If you want to take it, it's the game set in the Napoleonic era. It is like diplomacy, only with a Columbia block war game twist. Definitely going strong on Kickstarter. Maybe a little bit less as far as money, but we don't have as many add-ons in this. We're just trying to keep things very smooth with shipping right now, the way things are, and we have some computer things and some personnel moves and stuff like that, so we want to make sure this just goes smooth, but Alliance is looking very well. And finally, speaking of Kickstarters, and this is in conjunction with the theme of today, Douglas Cole's From Gaming Ballistic Till Death Do Us Part, written by David Pulver for the fantasy trip for Steve Jackson Games. How many names can I put into that in one sentence? But that Kickstarter ended, and it did really well. And Douglas is about to send the smoke test out to some of the backers to order some things. So I wanted to do this video as quickly as I could, because it is one of the items that is going to be available for sale on the backer kit or the survey, however he does it. And I suggest anybody get it, whether they're fantasy trip players or not. But today I'm going to be going over with you yet another fantasy trip RPG score, and it is the character collections from Gaming Ballistic. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is another fantasy RPG score. I could say it's another fantasy trip score because this is made specifically for the fantasy trip, but because of its nature, it's NPCs, it's fantasy, and TFT is very easy to convert, so there's no reason that anybody couldn't use this, whether you're playing Fate, Dungeons & Dragons, Savage Worlds, it doesn't really matter. The real question is, as an experienced game master, why would you? Why would you want a book full of NPCs? After all, NPCs is what you can do in your sleep, okay? There's another reason why beginning game masters might want these. My washing machine leprechaun's telling me to All right, so let's try this again. Why would any experienced game master choose any of these books? Okay, well, the answer is actually quite simple here, because there's other books out there actually all about NPCs, and I've seen them, and they're really beautiful. They're really done up, and they're like $30 a shot in hardcover and all that stuff. But the thing is, they're way too verbose. This is a digestible, easy, session-ready kind of thing. Whether you're just before the session, you need an NPC, 1 to 3 paragraphs is not that much to read. In the middle of a session, you wouldn't do it right in the middle of combat, but you might take it during the break, the halftime show, right? They're taking a break and eating, you're reading 3 paragraphs on something, you're ready to go. With a lot of these other books, they're giving you 2 pages. I've seen them. It's too much. You know, this is definitely more than just rolling up traits like, okay, I got an outdoorsy, adventurous, untrustworthy guy. Okay, fine, I'll go with that. This is more than that. So, while you may not even in the beginning during play, you just like with Bandits and Outlaws, one of the books here, you might need 3 highwaymen. Okay, fine, get them out of, or don't even get them out of the book. Just use 3 basic fighters, and if any of them survive and stuff like that, then you can go to this book. Boomity, boomity, boomity. Now you got a story to work with, and maybe you'll work it in, maybe you won't. It doesn't matter. It's there in your head in a very quick amount of time. Now, one of the things, there's 4 books in all. There's experienced adventurers, you got rookies, you got the Bandits and Outlaws, and it's not all Bandits and Outlaws in that book, by the way. It is actually more like the Thieves Guild supplements I've been talking about, where they talk about highwaymen as well. I'm sorry, not highwaymen, people protecting caravans, mercenaries, and such. There's some of that in there. And so that really reminds me of that book. But the one book, other than Bandits and Outlaws, actually, because of that fact, that really takes the cake is The Wizards. The Wizards, hands down, is the best book in this series. And why is that? Because Douglas does something that he does in all the other ones, but these characters really shine with it, is he actually spends the points on talents that aren't combat related. And talents, mind you, that, for wizards cost 3 times as much, and he does it anyway. It's beautiful because it gives the characters all flavor, lots of flavor. And that's tough to do when you're playing and maybe it's easier for NPCs, because it's hard for PCs to do that, because for Fantasy Trip, we all know it's a save versus poison or die kind of game, right? I mean, you've been introduced to Melee through the combat system with 32-point characters. You're playing Wizard with the same. You're desperately trying to get through Death Test for the 5th time. And, you get used to combat-heavy oriented characters. This and this is with the other characters, let alone the Wizards. He makes talents and he shows, look, just a few points into talents, and now you got a character that has that fits their motivations that he puts in the blurb about them and their profession. So it's a good mix. With Wizards, even more so, because with Wizards, as you know, if you're a TFT player, it costs 3 times as much to have a talent as anybody else. So when they spend it, it's like, oh my gosh, I can see a player character right now going, that's 3 spells I could have, right? But these really make it interesting, and the reason is because it does fit their personalities. You will use that with their characters, whether they're on or off the field. You will see them use it when they're in non-combat situations, because their personalities and their stories reflect that they will go back to that. And it's a beautiful thing. And another thing is the idea that with the Wizards, because they've spent something on skills, and now that's like may even be, some of them have spent half their IQ points on skills or talents, you only got like so much room for spells. You got like maybe 5 spells, where the traditional mage in TFT, if you got an IQ of 11, boy howdy if you don't have 11 spells, right? You got the maximum number of spells. Here you only got 5. So now you get the ones that will give your character flavor if you're doing any good. If you're cheesing out, you're going to probably play the same 5 spells that you always will at that level of IQ, right? That are probably the most optimal, right? Here you can definitely see by Douglas's example of doing it to make the characters interesting yet usable, because again, their personalities are going to fit their skills that they're going to play on the adventure. Not everybody's a combat mage. Some people are sages. Some people are advisors, and yet they still go on these missions with these people because they got to go on caravans or whatever. But there's reasons. I mean, you have to read it to see what I'm talking about. I highly suggest getting number 4. But the truth is, once you get number 4, then you want Bandits and Outlaws, which is again not all about Bandits and Outlaws. So you already got 2. And what are you going to do when you got 2 out of 4? You might as well say, I got to collect them all. Pokemon Go for the win. Wham! You get them all at Gaming Ballistic. I highly suggest you put these on an add-on for your Till Death To Us Part pledge on Kickstarter that he's about to send out. And that is the video, and I'll see you next time.